Hello, everyone. Hello, Britain. Well, is it just Britain? Because where we are now, and this is quite interesting to say, we're more than happy to spend £4.20 on a frothy coffee with caramel drizzle. But we'll scoff at £4. Yes, £4 for a second-hand kettle that actually works. And the reason why second-hand kettles, a Murphy Richards that's working, that probably made in Yorkshire, cost, I don't know, 25, £30 18 months ago. You can't get £4 for it now because they'll scoff at it, because you can buy delivered to your house a brand new kettle for £8.99. So, what is it, and how can we combat this growing trend of £4.20 is nothing for a frothy coffee, but you can't get £4 for a second-hand quality piece of equipment that you're selling? And this is what, if you're trading as a reseller, second-hand goods is what you're facing every day, from lowball offers to people taking a microscope out for £5. Is this what it has become? Is it just Britain? Are you watching from other parts of the world and you're experiencing the same daily grind reselling on day-to-day items that are just now going to become destined for the recycle bin? What do you think? Leave your comments below. I'm going to go into what I see, what I experience on some of the items that are just no longer going to be viable to sell on eBay. That really, there's just no point, because we've just got to get into the culture of indulgence purchases and throwaway consumer goods, and that short-term gratification, but with no long-term vision. And that means an awful lot of things that I've sold for many years are no longer going to be viable to sell, and you may be experiencing that exactly the same. So, to sum it up, I think we're living through a cost of living crisis, but we're not in a cost of vanity crisis. That is absolutely booming. People will queue for 15 minutes to pay £3.80 for a cup of steamed milk and social validation. But when it comes, I don't know, for £3.80 for a second-hand Breville, oh no, that's used. Oh, we take £2.50 and include the postage. What is going on? Are you experiencing this? Do you take part in it? Are you one of these people that thinks nothing of spending £4 to £8 every time you visit a coffee shop without any thought whatsoever? And then as soon as it comes to actually buying a non-emotional purchase, i.e. something physical, that's it. The microscope's out and you want it as cheap as chips, delivered for £3 and on your doorstep by 9 o'clock tomorrow. So it's all about price comparison, and now the race again to the bottom, like I've mentioned before on this channel. When a brand new appliances that are listed for under £10 on eBay, it sets a psychological ceiling for buyers who look, even if the second-hand item is better built. They're not comparing £8.99 for a kettle that is unbranded and shipped from wherever, but free to your house, compared to, I don't know, a Swan kettle or akin to a £60, £70 kettle. They've got this ceiling. Resellers, we just can't compete on price without sacrificing any form of margin that you'd got, and you certainly can't compete on newness without losing what you stand for with regards to the fact that honesty, integrity, and you're selling or recycling or whatever secondhand goods. So take, for example, if you look at, I mentioned Breville before, but a Breville sandwich maker, the original and quality, and probably costs about, I don't know what Breville's cost, but say £24.99, £29.99. And before, you would probably get, in the past, £12 to £15 plus postage for a Breville sandwich maker. Now you'd be lucky to get a sale on it, or even £5, £6, because you can buy a sandwich maker that is not Breville but makes triangular shaped sandwiches that you can put beans in and absolutely give yourself third-degree burns on your lips when you bite into the beans, just as good with with a brand new 8.99 one as you could do paying £15 for a second-hand Breville. So that becomes now a non-starter. If you've bought a bulk lot, you may have in the past got some household appliances that have come in. You've got some ornaments, you've got some other bits and bobs, and you might have a Murphy Richards kettle. You might have a genuine Breville sandwich maker, toaster. You might have those, and they could give you a little bit of stable income. You could list them and you'd sell them. But now you're competing against an $8.99, $9.99 device that's brand new in a shiny box delivered for free. And that means that that whole market segment of what would contribute and hold and get some money back for that purchase that you made on that lot or on those items has gone. It's got to be written off and no longer in that value. So that leads us on to perceived value versus the real value of something. So a buyer, they'll equate, I don't know, new with better, even when the thing that is new is plastic heavy, short lived, and absolutely poorly assembled. But the second-hand market, the stuff that I've been dealing with for many years, relies on people, on informed buyers who understand the durability and the long lastingness of the product. But we're competing now with a glamorization and an influencer culture and a generational shift that has eroded all that. I spoke to my wife who says the young people want new and want shiny. They don't look at it like us. So that suddenly means that these items are just no longer viable to sell. What we have got is then either to undersell, which totally erodes the profit margin, and we've undersold the quality of the item we're trying to sell, or we've got to over justify it by saying, look, and actually go out and potentially highlight the product that we're selling by rubbishing the new product, which then kills the scalability of trying to actually use some of these items that we would have sold in the past to actually contribute into the overall profitability of what you're selling. Is secondhand moving to be just a totally niche market? And that's where we're going. Are they the only things that are gonna sell? A niche market and no mainstream consumables. They're just all going to become destined to the local recycling centre, up to the local tip or the dump, depending on where you are, and put them in the electricals bin as you throw yet another 18-month-old kettle into the bin that's perfectly good. So moving on with that picture of you or me throwing that kettle into the big bin that says metals, small electricals above it in your council recycling centre. We've got now this functional versus disposable culture that as a second-hand reseller you are competing with on a daily basis. So cheap new goods, they encourage a throwaway mindset. If it's a £9 toaster and it breaks and you got it delivered for free, it doesn't matter. Just bin it. Jump on your computer, jump on your phone, pay another £9, and one will be, it could even be there this evening when you get back from work. You just had to have a minor inconvenience of one day without your toast. You could always stop off at a well-known coffee chain and order a toasty on your way into work that day. That's half the price of a toaster at £4.80. This totally undermines the ethos of second-hand selling. Repair, reuse, respect is out of the window on these elements, on these mainstream consumer goods now. And that is the products that I'm saying the market has just collapsed in. It also means fewer buyers are now willing to pay for tested, cleaned, and guaranteed secondhand items. Despite all the effort that you've done to get it to that high quality, despite the original purchase price of that item, and despite the build quality and longevity of that item, because of this, my toaster's only £9. If it breaks, I'll order another one and throw this thing. Maybe not even take it to the recycling bin, just hide it away, stick it in a black bin liner and throw it in the non-friendly. Not that I would actually condone anybody doing that. Take it to your recycling centre. So this highlights an even bigger problem, and hopefully if you hear about eBay, this is it, the platform undermining, because eBay itself becomes part of the problem, with bulk sellers flooding listings with cheap imports, visibility for a real seller, or I'm going to use that, they're real sellers, but they're not really my mind. Search results prioritize price and new tags, pushing secondhand listings to the margins unless heavily optimized. There are a few videos about optimizing, but how can you compete and change someone's mindsets? And it's not just limited to eBay. Charity shops, car boot sellers are all going to be feeling the squeeze as buyer expect less than new prices for used goods. So if you can buy something for $8.99 delivered to your house, you're not going to want to pay more than £2-3 on a car boot. So out of this, there is an absolute massive strategic fallout for us resellers. As a seller, we now face a dilemma. We either pivot to a niche, high trusted categories, really vintage, tested pro gear, rare models, or this whole marketplace, this appliance space entirely, just get out of it. Some people are going to bundling items, so they've got a test, a toaster, a kettle sets to justify the higher prices. But all of this is a workaround, and it's not the solution. So is this the end of the day for these secondhand consumer products that we used to get money from on eBay? Others are turning to storytelling or highlighting and the build quality, the UK manufacturing, or the repairability to try and differentiate. But that takes time and skill, and it needs an emotional punch. And if it's not giving an instant gratification of an emotional purchase, it's not gonna sell. So it's a total, in my mind, shift of time to get out of that entire market space. And that's going to impact us. And it's going to impact quite a few people because, like I said earlier, some of those products complemented as a steady little income whilst you were waiting for your higher earners to sell. But without those cash cows now, they've got to be discounted. They've got to be forgotten about. And it's a one-off if you get them sold. So the market is radically changing. Were you in this market space? Have you been selling these goods? Are you still successfully selling these goods and you've found the right angle? If you'd like to share your experiences in the comments below. Do you think it is something that has gone a long time ago and it's just the final nail in the coffin for it? Let me know. As always, thanks for watching, and I'd love to read some of your comments below. Thank you.